what do you want to tell people about the NHL Central Scouting List?
Yeah, so I feel like this. So this is like the watch list or whatever. So this is basically NHL Central Scouting publishing like players that they'll be. I mean, it's a watch list. So like, ones that they'll be tracking throughout the year and who are on their radar right now.
Is this like a CIA watch list or
different? But so like, especially with the preliminary watch list, a lot of it, especially with like the A and B grades, are based on like play from last year and then up to like the Holinka and stuff. This isn't necessarily taking majorly into account like the beginning of the year, because there are a couple of prospects that have really popped off at the beginning of this season, and a couple that have not had great starts that either like were surprise A grades or surprised that they weren't. But I would say that like obviously no team is ever going to base their like their draft projections on this, but it does, like, I know for a fact, like, it does give teams like something to look at throughout the year. It's like somewhat of a guide because obviously they employ however many people, and
I'm just imagining a team that like gets this list, prints it off, they're like, all right, we're done, ready for June.
Well, the first thing I thought about when someone was like, oh no, NHL teams do like actually kind of look at it, and like it helps as somewhat of a guide, almost kind of like, again, they have their own scouting, whatever. But like I immediately thought back to, remember the beginning of the pandemic when they were like, yeah, by the way, the Sabres just don't have anyone scouting in Russia.
they fired every scout. Yeah.
They're like, fuck that. Nope.
Does every other team not know that there is an NHL Central Scouting List?
They were like, yeah, we don't need that shit. And then it was like, we don't even know if they've got that many people in Europe.
What was the one, Z? What was the draft guide Isha had for the first draft stream that we did where you joined? Hockey News. The entire time you were just carving him for using that. Can you imagine just Buffalo sitting there with the Hockey News like draft rankings? Yeah. Like, who's up next? All right, you crossed him off, right? Yep. Okay, pick this guy.
It's yeah, and it's not even like the Hockey News. I just knew like exactly how there are certain players like I bet I know how they feel about this fucking.
So yeah, immediately you're like, well, I haven't ranked this. This is where general consensus is, and your sheet probably has him at 42. And he's like, holy shit, 41.
Yeah, whatever. But the watches is good because, again, like even for like, I mean, at this point now, obviously I'm doing more like, obviously I focus on wild prospects, whatever. And then for the draft at this point, I'm geared more towards Sweden. So there are obviously players that I already know about elsewhere, but it does give you a little bit of a guide. But like the way they do it's like there's certain amount of players that get an A grade, which is like a potential first round pick that I think, I can't remember the exact cutoff, but it's like B, I believe, is second and third. C is 4th to 5th, and then like they might have D
W.
Actually. They have the D, or they do have a W, which is just like the watch. Yeah, I think actually that's what they have. They stop at C, which is like 3rd, 4th round, and then
you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings giving it a T or an F, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm like, he's an F. He's gonna get drafted though. But they do the W. That's just like they're watching to see where they end up. Like they have a chance to go mid to late round or whatever.
Well, how like overinflated is this though? Like, do they have 32 A grades or do they have 50 A grades that could potentially fall in the first round? And then are all the ones that fall in the B to C or the B range, which is like 2nd and 3rd round, like, is it commensurate with the amount of picks, or is it like there's double the players on this list than there are draft spots?
Yeah, no, it depends on the year, so it fluctuates. So they don't have like, it's not like they have like 32 A grades and then whatever, like 64 B grades.
Look at you. You said you didn't do math.
Yeah, exactly. Not to brag. I don't even know if I'd actually have to. I'd have to look to see if they did it this year. They do have the They've also got like, I don't think they actually did it this year at least for the preliminary, but they added like the LV limited viewing. They're like, hey, we actually don't know yet. Like we know this player is like popping off here. We haven't seen enough to give them a definitive grade, or like say that we're definitely watching.
Imagine throwing like LV for like Celebrini, like, yeah, BU sucks, so we're just not really even watching him.
We're gonna stop. But yeah, so that's kind of the overall like look at the actual or like at least the what exactly is this like preliminary watch list. I wish they would call it something else, but you know, whatever. It's what it is. And like there's some trends that we knew about. Like I think in terms of like, this is the first time I've seen, I think there's 2 Swedish players with A grades, maybe 1.
Swedish meaning they are from Sweden, or Swedish
playing
meaning
in Sweden.
They currently play in Sweden? Yes, how many Swedish players? How many from Sweden? 0?
1.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, there he is. Which is again, well, no, he's actually lighting it up this year, realistically, and he's been very good for a long time, so that's fair enough. Lucas Pettersson's the one Swedish player playing in Sweden who got an A grade. But it's just a down year for them. But the other thing, too, is there's 0 goalies with A grades. So this is definitely a year where we're not going to see any goal. Like, is that normal? I would be pretty comfortable.
Do goalies typically have an A grade in this initial list?
There's usually 1.
Okay.
There is usually 1, I feel like. It's not. It's one of those years where it's like there's not any like standout guys that you're like, oh, like this could be the next whoever, like pick a prominent goalie name. There's plenty of guys that you're looking at, like plenty of goalies.
Jordan Binnington.
We're going to go like mid to late round. We're like, they have tools. We just haven't seen it long enough, whatever. But like nothing that's going to like, there's again, not a goalie at this point anyways, that you're like, oh yeah, I'd definitely be okay with spending a first round pick here. Cause like this draft class isn't as strong as 2023, but there's definitely like some of these kids I'm very excited about. And I think that's just kind of like the general consensus where it's like, there's some legit players here.
So compare it to 2023 though. Is it that it's not as deep, or is it that it's not as like heavy at the top? Like
I would say it's less top heavy.
Okay. So it's
but they're like
depth all the way through, but it doesn't have the same like first rounder like staying power, like where like holy shit, these are all no shit first rounders.
Right. Yeah. So like that's why this year's
like Riley Heidt.
There you go. Apparently somehow last pick. It's crazy. Whatever. But like these kinds of draft classes are always interesting, especially like off the back of like an incredibly like a draft class that's been hyped up for as long as 2023 was. It's always interesting to see like just the conversation generally around that like year after. And again, the fact that this year's the opposite, whereas is like there's at the top, there's a ton of defensemen that are going to go in the first round here, and like a ton of high-end defensemen, which is like the opposite of last year. And we still saw defensemen go pretty high last year. What's a lot
though? Is a lot 50-50 or is a lot like 7 of the top 10?
I could see like half the top 10 being defensemen, like 5 of that first 10. Like, I mean, you're looking at
basically we're going back to 2008 where it was Stamkos and then it was like all defensemen.
Yeah. But like again, even the start of the year, there's definitely been some players coming on incredibly strong that like maybe we're flirting with first round potential, like not just defensemen, but like in general. Like I look at one of the kids that got an A grade that people felt pretty good about, but we're curious to see where they'd land. Is a kid like Emil Hemming out of Finland. Like I feel like he was a consensus either like late first, early second guy, lit it the fuck up at the Holinka on a dog shit Finland team. And this year came in like the first 10, 11 games of Finnish juniors. He was like 3 points a game. Goes, earns a spot on their Liga team, that first division pro team in Finland. First game, goal. Like scores again 2 games later. Like he's continuing to like light it up to the point where I think he's going to keep climbing. And he's got the flash. He's a very well-rounded player, just fun to watch in general. But another one of those Finnish kids that are just like legit. But it is always just like interesting to see, because like I said, the preliminary watch list is usually largely based on like last year or beyond, or like previous viewings before the season, and then maybe like the summer tournaments. Like a lot of the prelim, there's like very few players I feel like they will actually move A grade to B grade, B grade to A grade. Like there's not a ton. So that was one that I was curious to, that would get the A grade, and he did, because I think at this point he's probably projected mid first round, flirting with like top 12. And then where did Silyev? Oh, he got the A grade. So like another one that definitely was not on a lot of radars is this fucking 6'7" Russian kid who's like a point per game in the best team in Russia as a defenseman. 6 foot. He's 6'7", 211 pounds, and he's got like almost at a point per game on the best team of the KHL. Like he's lighting up Anton Silyev. Like he
So
is.
where does he rank
Nasty.
for you?
I think I would probably put him off the top of my head right around 20.
Yeah. Oh, so like right where the Wild draft every year.
Yeah, perfect. It was 6'7" left shot D man who is just like nasty. He's just been like, he hasn't slowed down. Like he's not at a point per game anymore, but he's still like producing points here and there, and just continuing to just be a beast. And it's just like, yeah, no, we can't take him out of like, this isn't a flash in the pan thing. But it's those players who I'm always fascinated to see who end up getting those A grades, where it's like definitely was not on the A grade radar beforehand. But then whenever they like, it takes a lot to like really jump into that range for those preliminary watch rankings if you're not already thought of as the A grade. So but I'm not like, that's what I'm not that surprised about, because just how, like, I think at that point he was undeniable. But there's a good amount of Russians with the A grade. I think now at this point too, I think teams are not going to be shy about, like, I don't think there's and the whole like fear about like the Russian prospect. I think that largely got overblown.
Are we less worried about it because Ska sucks now?
Yeah. They're like, all right, well, like clearly
that's
it's
a
fine.
Clear indicator of the power of Russia.
Yeah, they suck now. So all right, we're good. But I think they had like 4 or 5 up there. Yeah, well, I think they got
2 that you have in the top 5, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What?
You have 2 Russians in the top 5, don't you? If I remember correctly.
Well, I mean, Demidov, who's hurt long term, that sucks.
Bummer.
So is Kivi Haryu, that sucks.
He's definitely an all-name team candidate for me.
No, I don't think I'd have Chernyshov in the top 5. Oh, Lev Shunov's he's at Michigan. He's Belarusian, so it's not the same thing.
I heard Russian.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, there you go.
It's in the name.
Yeah. Chernyshov is so fucking good, dude. Yeah, that's another kid. But like, he's getting the fucking Yurov shit, dude. Where like, I don't know why Dynamo Moscow is keeping them in the KHL. Like, every game, it's minute and a half, 47 seconds, 58 seconds, 7 shifts. I'm like, I just fucking go let him cook in the fucking like U20 league. Like, why? Whatever though. Shut here. But yeah, anyways. I'm trying to pull up any other like surprises that got, or ones that I really like in the A grade. I was gonna say,
well, no, I want to know who's in the B range that you're like, this is bullshit.
Or
does that not
exist? I don't know about bullshit, but like, just again, weird. talking Swedish kids here. There are a couple that I wasn't sure would even be on like Central Scouting's radar that I think in the middle rounds could be huge steals from Sweden. Like there's two twins that play on Malmo, the Badinka. There's Dominic and I think it's Daniel Badinka, and they are so nasty. Dominic got the B rating. Other one did not, so that's always tough. But he looks sick.
So they're not going to go 2 and 3 to the Canucks. Got it.
Yeah, no, can't happen.
Okay, a name that you brought up previously, like I'm just looking through for the ones that I remember you talking about. You brought up Anthony Cristoforo.
Christopher.
He's a B.
Yeah.
So that's accurate. All right, we're moving on.
Well, yeah, he's one that definitely could be flirting with, like, first round. Like he's
Kidless kids getting a B. What a joke!
He's lighting up the dub.
Wait, what? How have you not talked about Cole Hudson slander already?
Yeah, he's having a tough start to the year. That was
he went from number 10 in the preseason rankings to being a B.
Yeah, I mean,
explain it.
Well, again, that was one that they probably looked at. Like the start of the year has really not been great at all. I'm telling you, that was one that was like, really, he dropped to a B. Like I'm not ready to. They're also like, oh, he's 5 foot. What? Okay, great. Love that for us.
We've seen this before with his brother. Oh wait, everyone regrets not taking him. Let's not learn from that.
Yeah, no. Why would we do that? Especially again, looking at like some of the ones that snuck up in the A range, but
all name team candidate Andre Kos. Andre with Ondrej, like
Finnish kid for Ilves,
but then it's Kos for the last name. Yep, that's all I need. Ryerson Leenders, another good one. What do you think? This one is for our boy Veach. Max Plant. Have you watched much of his play?
Not really. I actually haven't. Then
we're gonna erase.
I know who you're talking about though. But there's one other one that's in the second round that I was surprised for the B range was Charlie Ellick. He's been playing he was playing unbelievably well as an underage of the WHL last couple of years. I was very surprised he got into the B range because he was on Team Canada. Hlinka looked great. Has looked great in the WHL. He's big, plays both sides of the puck as a D-man. Another one I was surprised got B range and not A range, or A grade, whatever. That was one that stood out, especially as well. Same thing with Luke Misa. Well,
I'm seeing three guys. I'm seeing 3 guys in the B grade that you talked about previously, and one of them is all name team consideration. Why is Leo Saline Wallenius?
I knew that was the first one. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think he's a first rounder. I think he could be. I think he's got a super high floor. His teammate, actually, who's got a great name too.
Got enough A's here. Oh, wait, actually, no, they don't have that many. Never mind. I take it back.
No, there's not that many. Yeah.
The way you were talking about it is there's way more in the A than will actually be taken in the first round. So that's fair.
Yeah. Well, he and his teammate, Alphonse Friese-Fry, however you want to say it, they both play the same Swedish junior team. Wasn't surprised. They're both B range. I bet that those are both players you would be comfortable taking second, third round. There's decent upside in both of them, but
sure,
probably not enough at this point to get the
okay.
A range.
You also talked about VT Väisänen. Is he a solid B for you, or any?
He's one that could be. I think he's flirting with first round at this point, probably. Okay. So I think B at this point, again with the preliminary watch. Yeah, it's fair.
And then the last one I'm seeing here that I know you've talked about, Shattuck boy, William Zellers.
Yeah, that was was he another B?
He's a B.
I will be fascinated to see the progression of that one because I don't know if he's been consistent enough in his performance day in day out to get that A, but well, I think he's on the trajectory of getting looked at for a potential first round. Like I think he somewhat came on recently to be like, oh shit, like, which probably means the B rating is like a pretty big compliment at that point, because like there are some kid, again, that's the thing with this class, it's like there are some that are like no shit. I mean, I guess you could say that any draft class, but I feel like this is one where like these forwards are getting like lost in the mix, just like with how many good, solid, like legit D-men there are too. But like,
so Judd Brackett's going to snag a couple of them, and everyone's going to say, "Yeah, but when are they going to be here in 8 years?"
I think this is a draft you get very excited about having like a lot. Like if you're the Seattle Kraken, you make trades and only get like second round picks back. Like you're gonna be like, love it, love this for me. But one I did want to bring up, I have no idea, and maybe it's just because he hasn't got a ton of. Maybe it's based on. Actually, that doesn't make sense though. If it was based on largely like last year, like my guy in Sweden, Simon Zether. I don't know how he's C. This is a fucking.
He's a C.
6'3" beast, power forward, plays center, scores, defends well. He's at like 0.8 goals per game right now on a shit Rogla team in the J20. Like he's a fucking animal. I have no idea how he's projected, or at least how the central agent or central scouting look at him like as a C rating, especially some of the guys that got B's. I don't know how, but that's one guy from Sweden. I'm like, I have him like flirting first round. Like so.
Oh boy,
I think that's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was pretty upset about that one.
So he's probably already a candidate then for draft son.
Yeah, he's been there. He's been up there.
When is it? Is it Christmas that will decide who your draft children are?
Yeah, right before like World Juniors.
Right before or right after?
Before. I'll go before. I'm not going to be a coward and wait.
You're being a coward and waiting right now?
Fair enough. I love being a coward, so it's fine. Yeah.
What am I? Okay. Who is this kid from the queue? We have Elliot L'Italian. Like he's literally L'Italian.
Yeah. There you go. That's the next question. I don't know what you asked that you just answered your. What is he? He's Italian. What do you mean?
I don't know. That's all right.
I don't think I've watched.
I don't know why this one's funny to me. But
full QMJHL games.
Well, no, you exclusively scout the Q because it's the best CHL league.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
All right. Am I just like out of my element right now, or is Adam Hesselval a real fun name? Hesselval.
He's a good player in Sweden, dude. I think that'll be a late pick. That
he's a C.
Decent upside. He's fun. I mixed him up. He has a brother, Sebastian, on the same team. I always mix them up, so I thought he was not. The first time I watched, he threw me off. I was like, he looks different this year. It's like, oh fuck, that's his younger brother.
So last one I have to hit here, and then there might be some questions. I'll scan through that quick. But how have we not talked about the fact that there is a Crosby in the queue?
Who's he?
Logan Crosby, Halifax, QMJHL.
I don't know. Probably because I haven't watched the fucking queue. Let's see.
Disappointing.
Oh, the Bruins. So I wonder if there's any relation here in the QMJHL as well. So like last year, the Bruins drafted this overager, Frederic Brunet. Looks incredible. I really hope this is his brother because so Brunet, very French. This dude's first name, Simon Pierre, with the dash in between. Simon Pierre Brunet.
That That's a fun one. I like that.
That's a good one. Yeah, we should probably
any 3-name hyphenated in the queue.
Oh yeah.
is
Oh,
usually
there's another one. Oh, that's a good one as well. Pierre-Etienne Cloutier. Another good one. Any hyphenate? Give me. I wish.
Break it, Pepe Le Pew.
Wow, what a name here! It played in Slovakia. Martin Rudolf Liska. Martin Rudolph is his first name. Pretty good.
Can work with it.
Big fan of any VT. Any VT. I'm a big fan of your name.